All right, so what do you want to talk about today?
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the show. We are your hosts, Colin Peters.
Oh wait, John's not here today. Fuck that guy.
Ooh!
And Jeff Manfred.
Bazinga. Yeah, John couldn't make it today. We actually had plans originally to talk about another movie, but he's up in Massachusetts right now, so he's just enjoying himself.
It's at the Ghost House. If you remember from the podcast, the Skype episodes, the house that had the crazy wallpaper, yeah, that's where he's at right now.
Did you see that video that he sent us about going into his basement?
Which time?
I know.
We might have to post that so everyone understands what we're talking about.
Yeah. Maybe we'll put it like in the video portion of this.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody just sees the slow walk that he does down the stairs.
Yeah, for that, he was definitely a showman on that.
Well, if he comes back walking funny, we know he got raped then.
Oh my god. Dude, if that house is haunted, I would be surprised.
It definitely looks haunted. Well, hell, I think Massachusetts has an interesting history of being haunted in general anyway.
Yeah, because honestly, with the Salem witch trials and everything there, like it is probably one of the oldest haunted states. So that's actually one area. I've been to Massachusetts. I've been to Worcester, I think is how you say it. But it's a nice little area. But I would have loved to see Salem, and I know Lexi and I were talking about making a trip up there eventually. But COVID reasons right now.
Yeah, how about that? I know John was talking about it a little bit with us, and it does seem like a really nice area.
Honestly, like you said, the history alone kind of has a big pull to it.
I always got fascinated by those old colonial, well-known towns, too, especially in history. Like in one area that I always wanted to check out was Sleepy Hollow up in New York.
I think that'd be a fun trip, too.
I heard that's not really changed a whole lot. I mean, of course, it's modern, but it's still kind of, like, backdated a bit.
I don't see anything wrong with that, because you're getting still of our history, but you're going to a kind of a well-known area. So I can see them modernizing some of it, but still keeping that colonial look.
That's how I feel about New Hope, PA. I don't know. Were you ever down there with me?
I might have been. Didn't we go to that murder mystery thing? Or was that something else?
That was Peddler's Village.
Okay.
That was... that's like right there, though.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, New Hope's different, though. You go to New Hope, you know that you're in New Hope.
Okay.
But it's really cool, though, there. It's got that kind of like old school colonial type look and feel to it.
That's nice.
With a modern twist, and it's like all mom and pop shops and restaurants. They got a nice church.
Oh,
like
wow.
Off to the side. Yeah, it's really nice. And then, of course, they got the Bucks County Playhouse, which was this old barn, and they converted it into a theater. I was like, that's really cool. That's the one where we usually go to see Rocky Horror every year.
Okay.
And this past year, they had the Halloween concert, which was really fun. That was a lot of fun, man. New Hope was popping that night. I think that was Halloween night, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because I remember you guys sending me pictures, and I sent you pictures of me trick-or-treating with Thea.
That's right.
Yeah, I still laugh. I got that picture on my watch of her in the Anna outfit.
Yeah.
I kept calling her Buff Anna.
Buff Anna?
Because, she looked like she had muscles. And I called her so much, even throughout the night. She was still wearing it. I'd just yell, Buff Anna, where you at? She'd come running out.
And she come running.
Yeah, that kid. Honestly, I think showing her a lot of stuff like that would be really cool to see. Like, we're looking for toddler-friendly trips, so that's our biggest thing.
Well, hell, New Hope, they do train rides.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
She loves the train, so.
There you go. And then she might be getting her first movie experience coming up.
I know. I'm excited for that. 'Cause even Lexi was like, how do you think she would react? I'm like, honestly, she sits with me most of the time anyway, so. As the movie starts getting boring, it's like, I get bored, she gets bored, she starts running around screaming. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, I guess I'll sit through this.
Well, this is going to be a classic film.
Oh, yeah.
I do find it ironic that I saw that movie when I was 2, and your daughter's going to see this movie at 2. I didn't plan on that, by the way.
No.
I didn't mean to take that away from you and Lexi either.
That was actually perfect, because like we were talking about the 2 movies that you suggested. I was like, either or is perfect.
And we might be doing both.
Yeah. We did start watching the other one on Sunday, so she sat through most of it, no issues. And
beautiful.
Yeah, we only ended up watching half of it because we had to go feed her and she was getting bored.
That happens.
Yeah, but
we're gonna make an event out of this, like it's gonna be a premiere.
It should be.
Yeah, we don't really have a topic today because we were going to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it's a big part of our lives. I mean, TMNT 90 was like, it still holds near and dear to our hearts, and I was doing quite a bit of research on it, and I wanted to make sure there was a lot to say. And, you know, John, he'll just say whatever the hell he wants. But no, I appreciate what John does, because he does do some deep diving.
Yeah.
And it does make the podcast fun, too. Also,
I think it's more or less like me yelling at him for...
yeah, the novella.
Yeah. And there's times I see this man pull out a book, and I'm like, are you serious? I'm over here just like, all right, I looked through, so I got some cool stuff, cool. Like, I'm literally sitting across the table from like, what the fuck is he pulling out now?
And some stuff we're just like, oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, like you said, like, even Turtles before that, before the movie came out, we had the cartoon. And the cartoon was a big staple in our lives. And
absolutely.
Honestly, I still watch it recently.
Me too.
It was, like, it's still fun. Like, they tried to, like, cross over just enough from the cartoon to the movie so they can keep it relevant, but yet they still kept it its own thing. Like, I can see why they were saying, like, the movie was so dark, but it is what it is, because I felt like it, with it, the realism that they did with, 6-foot turtles, I'm like, how real could you be with that?
Well, I can argue, and I don't want to give too much away just because of it, like being its own episode, but from the documentary, The Toys That Made Us, that originally it was a comic book, and then it was the toys, and then it was the comic book. I mean, it was the comic book, the toys, the cartoon, and then it was the movie. And the movie was actually an independent film that really wasn't... I guess it was independent because of Masters of the Universe flopped.
Oh my god, yes. And if any of you haven't seen Masters of the Universe, I would say just watch it once. Not twice, just once. Because Dolph Lundgren is funny as hell, and Hoggle is probably the comedic part of that entire fucking movie besides Skeletor's face.
That Skeletor's face is bad.
Yeah. Like, I was a big He-Man fan, and then I saw that movie, like, what the fuck am I watching?
I think I saw 5 minutes of it if I was lucky.
I've watched it several times.
Oh my god.
Just because I'm like, alright, maybe it's better the second time round. Maybe the third. Maybe I'll find something in this fourth time. Then I'm like, no, I'm not finding anything in this movie at all. Not even worth rewatching.
Wow, for you to say that.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I'm at that point where it's like, if I can't find one thing about this movie, I'm not going to rewatch it ever again.
And Masters of the Universe prove that.
Oh my god, yeah. That actually reminds me, like, they had that new She-Ra show on Netflix. Theo absolutely loves it. It was like one of those things, I'm like, they changed just enough to not include, I guess, He-Man and the Masters. It was just She-Ra's story. So they didn't mention He-Man, Skeletor, whatever at all. But they still have to use the power of Grayskull. And I'm like, that's the only crossover they end up having to do, because I think it's an all-female cast, writers, directors, whatever. And I thought that was amazing. And the story was really amazing. And I'm like, all right, so we burned through the 5 seasons like it was nothing. Because I was even got to the point where I'm like, well, what's going to happen next? I was like, all right, cool. I'm like, it's kind of cool that they are updating stuff to incorporate the younger generations now. That's what I'm getting excited for. So it's like all the stuff that we loved as kids, yes, it's getting updates. Doesn't mean that it's always going to be good. Like,
it's true. Well, it's like, remember when TMNT actually came out as a cartoon again in 2003?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that cartoon series of them.
Let me tell you what, that is the hardest thing to find. I don't even have
You're damn right it is.
I have like almost the whole collection. I'm missing like 4 discs, and those are the hard ones to find.
And son of a bitch, those discs only have like 3 or 4 episodes on them a disc.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, just put them out on Blu-ray already and just release
Dude, I'd be happy for a box set at this point. With the original, this one, and that one that they recently did, was it 2010?
With the Nickelodeon one.
Yeah, that one I actually was so impressed with. Like, because I'm like, all right, I'm not going to watch another reincarnation of the Turtles. And then I'm sitting there, I think it was based on my nephews, and they were obsessed with it. I'm like, dude, what? I'm not going to watch your shitty shit. Oh, then I sat there and watched like 4 episodes. I'm like, well, what's going to happen? I'm like, I had to go back. I actually ended up buying like the 2 first, I guess, volumes. I burned through that because I'm like, yo! So like it reignited my passion for the Turtles again until they did those shitty movies. But
oh god, yeah, those was it Michael Bay?
Yeah.
Oh, those were bad.
But I think we're gonna like give away a little too much of this. But like he's the same one that like wrecked Transformers. There's like 37 movies of Transformers right now because of him.
and the best one out of all those Transformer movies, I gotta say, is Bumblebee. I don't think he had shit to do with that movie either.
No. I think honestly the best not the best movie. I guess the best person that came out of the movie was Marky Mark.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, they brought him in to replace Shia LaBeouf. I was like, whatever, man. Then also like it changed the story. It made the whole dynamic a little bit better. I'm like, I can get behind that.
I like John Cena and Bumblebee.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even watch that movie. I'm sure you say that John Cena was probably like one of the funniest things ever.
Oh my god, I remember at first I was thinking, he seemed so over the top and campy in it, but then I believe it was John who actually said, I think they were doing that on purpose because it was taking place in the 80s and it was supposed to have some of that like 80s camp type humor to it. Of course, Haley Steinfeld, sorry if I don't have her name right. She was excellent in it. I mean, I remember seeing her in, was it True Grit, and I was like, damn.
Oh yeah,
this kid's gonna just get better. I knew then she was just gonna get better.
Honestly, like you brought up True Grit. I was impressed with that remake. Like,
I love that movie.
Lexi's dad loves John Wayne. That's actually one of his favorite movies. And then when I think he suggested it, or I suggested to him, and I'm like, we watched it. I was like, yeah, I was impressed with Jeff Bridges. Yep. I said Jeff Daniels.
Oh,
That's why I stopped. But yeah, like I was impressed with the whole movie, and I'm like, yo, this is really good. Like, it's one of those ones like I'm never gonna watch again. But it's like it's not the fact that it's a bad movie. It's the fact that it's really good, but it's not my forte. I'm not big on westerns. I'm not big.
It's not rewatchable to you. But yeah, no, I get it. I thought the same thing. Like, there's a lot of westerns that I can watch once and just go, oh, okay. Like the Outlaw Josie Wales. Yeah. I thought, okay, I saw it once, I enjoyed it, but yeah, I'm not really big on westerns in general myself. Unforgiven, I could watch again.
Yeah, I actually feel like I should watch it a second time because like I feel we watched it just for the episode, and then I was like, all right, I feel like we missed a lot because just watching it one time and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It was the first time I had watched it too. Like that was and then I think John was the one who said like he didn't watch it either. So,
yeah, that's
like, all three of us.
That's why I asked. It's like because like normally when we do this, we have it's a movie we've already seen and we're talking about it, or like one of us has seen the movie and so we like explaining it to the other two, and that was the first time all three of us never saw the movie before, so we didn't know fucking shit about the movie. And it was like that's why I felt like that was one of our weakest episodes because like we didn't really talk. Like we were like I think almost living in the moment of well this is what happened. Like we did all that research, but it really didn't cross over to us because we saw it one time. So it's like we didn't like fall in love with the characters like we did with other movies. So I think that was the biggest issue, but it still made for a good episode because now it shows that we don't know everything.
Maybe it'd be a good episode if we recomb back to it and we're just like, hey, we gave it a second look because of how the first time around it was like a virgin territory for us, Yeah. That'd be interesting because I mean we're always expanding ideas on this stuff. I mean this is basically a bullshit episode, so
yeah, like most of the time we have a group chat that literally just says Cinema Sanitarium on it, and we'll be bullshitting through the whole thing, and then one of us will throw an idea out, and then we'll try to like see if we can piece together other stuff to work with it, or if we just scrap the idea. So like the idea about the memes came up, and I made 4, and then we had just made 2 new ones that I'm excited for you guys to post. So
yeah, they'll be coming up soon. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties right now, but they'll be coming up. And then we wanted to do TMNT for the end of March because that's technically the anniversary of the first movie, and I always remembered it because it was around my birthday, and kind of holds like a significant place in my heart, minus the fact that like we grew up with the cartoon as kids and stuff, and like all that other cool stuff, because there's a lot of heart to talk about in TMNT, and it's like really got a lot of deep love and passion yet. And the biggest thing I keep seeing about TMNT is that it's actually quite a bit of a misunderstood masterpiece. And yeah, like you said earlier, it's dark, but I think that was the intentions, because the comics were originally dark.
God, yeah, dude, those comics were amazing. Like they didn't.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, like they didn't even have the colors. It was like all red.
Yep.
And it was black and gray with just a red band, and I thought that was very significant that they finally like made each turtle their own. Then when it came to the cartoon,
actually, it was the toys.
I call it a cartoon because honestly, that's where I got introduced before the toys. So
yeah,
it's like
but if you notice the original action figures, they actually look like more of the comic book versions than what they did in the cartoon.
Yeah.
And they said they changed the colors to differentiate the turtles because of that.
Okay.
Otherwise, they would have looked the same. They did like change their faces and gave different unique looks. They also changed the color tones of the green. I noticed that was a thing. And then later on, that actually... It didn't happen in the 80s cartoon, but it started changing, and definitely the 2003 cartoon, I noticed that like the different shades of green, kind of like what those action figures were, they leaned over in that 2003 version. Like Donatello kind of had more of like an olive drab type of green to him. Raph had this like more Irish green kind of feel to him.
It's like even the size. Like if you took notice, the turtles varied in size. So I think the comics are all like 5'5", so they're short.
Mm-hmm.
But when the cartoons and the movies happened, they were substantially bigger. Except for, I think the original cartoon, they were around the 5-foot mark because they're shorter than April.
Yeah, I want to say like they were probably about 5 foot in the cartoon is how they had them built. And then in the first movie, because I know the one actor, he's about my height. He was like 5'7" or so, and they were in the suits.
Yeah.
And then in the Michael Bay ones, they were like
10-foot tall monsters.
I was like, no, not digging that. Definitely not digging that.
Yeah. Like, I dig some cool stuff about it. It wasn't, as a whole, like, I watched it several times because someone kept saying, like, oh, it's good. I'm like, all right. So I fell in love with it right off the bat. It's my cool new Turtles movie. When I watched it more than once, I started realizing, like, this is shit. Literally, it's shit. And then they made the sequel. I was excited because they're bringing Casey Jones in. I'm like, all right, maybe that'll be a redeeming factor of this entire fucking series. Yeah, no.
No.
Then we got the...
Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, that was actually the redeeming factor of this whole fucking series.
But what a letdown. They were all CGI.
Yeah, I feel like if they would have done a little more practical effects, even with the Shredder, in the sequel, they made him a practical effect instead of a CGI robot? Who the fuck thought that a Shredder Transformer is what we fucking needed?
No, we didn't.
Not me.
That. Yeah, not me either. Yeah, I was like, that is terrible. I actually did like that comic book kind of intro in the first, like 2 minutes or whatever of the first one that they did, but after that, no, I didn't like it at all.
And I did like, the main thing I did like was the fact that they did make each turtle their own thing. So it wasn't like a carbon copy with just different colors. They literally did size, like muscle mass, everything. Like, and it took on the personalities of each turtle, which I enjoyed thoroughly.
No, it was neat. I gotta say, I do give them props for that. It was something different because they did give something new to the table with it, you know, which is fine because you gotta update it every now and then. Like, I think Leo had more of a Japanese garb to him, which was fitting for him being really into the martial arts and the Japanese culture. That was fitting for him. Raph had like MMA.
He actually had the broken shell and everything.
Yeah.
I'm a big Donnie fan. I love the fact that he actually had like the goggles on top of his head and he had all the tech on his back. I was like, that is fitting for me.
I thought they did do some really cool stuff with that. But the Shredder outfit and shit, that was just fucking trash. I like how they had Vernon in it. That was kind of interesting. But yeah, man, when Casey Jones came into the sequel, I was like, well, he wasn't even really Casey Jones in it. He didn't have the long hair. He wore the hockey mask for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. And they changed his backstory, but it's like I said, it kind of keeping up with the times.
Yeah.
So.
But sometimes when it's not broken, you know, you don't have to change shit. Especially when you have such a big gap Like, I think it fits better for a movie like Spider-Man and Spider-Man Homecoming, because we already had an original with the Sam Raimi, and then we had The Amazing Spider-Man, which was like, okay, this was unnecessary. And then you had Spider-Man Homecoming, where you practically had to change it because it was, you got two of the same thing already, and they really didn't even nail it.
Well, they got a 20-something playing a teenager. When they finally got a teenager playing a teenager.
Yeah. And honestly, one of my favorite versions of Spider-Man is when he's not in high school.
Yeah, when he's an adult.
Yeah, I think that was some of the better Spider-Man storylines, and they focused on the high school stuff way too much, I feel like, and I'm thinking, okay, you guys need to just get away from that and let him be an adult. Yeah. I mean, they kind of did with Toby there, but I
feel like if they would have done Sam Raimi's third movie, it probably would have been fine with the franchise. But once again, the studio had to butt in when they should have just waited. But it took us, holy crap, almost 15 years before we actually got a Vulture.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a big letdown. I reading the synopsis for his third movie. I was fourth. I was thinking even for the third, it was supposed to be totally different than what we got.
Oh yeah, I think originally the fourth movie was supposed to actually be, the third movie was supposed to be the fourth movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, they wanted Venom in the worst way, and
all they had to do was just hint at it. Not even they could have put him in the fourth. Let Sam Raimi do his movie. And then push for the fourth.
Have somebody else move on, maybe, or whatever. Yeah.
Because, that franchise was really good. Tobey Maguire did a great job. But I think the standout person in the entire series was, just drew a blank. Dude that played Doc Ock.
Oh, Alfred Molina.
Yeah, he stood out the most. Out of that whole entire series, that's the one thing I remember. Because he played sincere and menacing together. And it was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
And they made him more of... What is it? Not even a villain for a villain's sake. He was a villain of circumstance. He was trying to figure out how to get this the fuck off. And
they did do a good job of really feeling for the villains in those movies. That they didn't want to be bad guys, but they were just kind of forced into it after a while.
I don't know. Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, I felt like he wanted to be Green.
Well, he became that after he inhaled the
toxins.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And then Sandman, he didn't really want to be a bad guy, but I don't agree with all that storyline anyway in 3 because it was just bad. And then the whole Spider-Man forgave him, and it was well, that kind of goes against the morale. The fuck. I was I don't know. There was a whole bunch of clusterfuck wrong with 3, and. Oh man, Venom looked like shit. I thought the black suit idea was bad in that. I mean, I could go on and on and on about how much Spider-Man 3 was just bad.
But that was actually the surprising thing. Sam Raimi being an independent writer-director, going from Evil Dead to working with Disney and Sony and everything like that is kind of a big step because you don't really see too many independent directors finally get into, I guess, the major leagues.
Well, I think he genuinely wanted Spider-Man because they said he was a big fan, and that had to be a major dream come true. And he did do a good job. I mean, considering that there was a lot of campiness to Spider-Man, and I guess in some ways one could argue that maybe it wasn't such a bad thing, really, because how do you make a movie like that, especially because it was so CGI heavy yet? I mean, you look at it now, I mean, they do so much that's not so obviously CGI, or they do a little more practical effects with it, but that's one of my beefs with movies nowadays. It's just that the CGI is more of a crutch than a Band-Aid.
If we were talking in the last episode with Jurassic Park, where they were doing it together, using a practical effect and then seamlessly using the CGI to kind of use it as a Band-Aid rather than making it the whole fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only other time I saw it really flawlessly together besides Jurassic World was that Thing prequel where they did both together because they wanted a little more movement out of everything and it made sense because you had a practical monster there but the tentacles and everything else were now the CGI. So it's like at least they had something they could work with.
And I think that's what really dates a movie, and it does kind of take me out of it, because movie magic is more about what can you do with the millions of dollars to put into the special effects to make it look real. I mean, like, we were talking about how we were raised on like Alien and Aliens, the original thing, the horror movies that we got, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where there was no CGI in those movies.
No.
Hell, the original Batman, that's where I think, like, the reason why those movies still have such an impact is because it really makes you believe that what you see is real, and the practical effects there's no like, oh, that's obviously computer. Even a model, they can do so much with a model now. It's just, you gotta have the right people and the patience, and yeah, it's gonna be like really grueling at times. I mean, there's so much that I heard about those turtle costumes that they said it was like a nightmare to use, but I mean, yeah, you go through the hours and the long-term effects, but look how, like, 30 years later, we're still talking about the movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, one movie I watched recently was Batman Returns. Oh, my God. Like, I think the only thing that I saw that was so obviously fake was the shields on the Batmobile.
Oh, where it slides across? And,
yeah.
Okay. I can see that, but...
They were bad in, the 89 version, too, because it was pretty dated for that as well. But all in all, man, I think that's another misunderstood movie. I mean, it didn't have, like, really memorable pop-out moments, but...
I'd say except for when Penguin bites the shit out of that guy.
My nose could be gushing blood.
What? Ah!
Man, the sexual innuendos in that movie, I could not believe.
Dude, just Michelle Pfeiffer in the cat suit. Like, it seemed like it flipped a switch with her. Like, she was that meek person, and then when she became Catwoman, all the sexual innuendos, like the double entendres, everything. I was like, wow, this was a kid's movie?
I know, right?
Think of the 60s Batman, where, Batman goes to college, and all the sexual innuendos they had between Catwoman and... Batman during that whole scene. I'm laughing because like all I can think was the time she's leaning against the railing, she's bent over, and like all the stuff she's saying, I'm like, oh my gosh.
And then like that one scene where her ass is just like popping out in front of your face, and you're like, oh.
Like Julie Newmar and Adam West, I felt had some of the best chemistry as Batman and Catwoman.
Oh my God, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, like we can always talk about Adam West because like he is our Batman. Michael Keaton is our Batman, and like even now. I bypassed all the other ones because I'm behind Ben Affleck as Batman because he fits it perfectly. And that's the thing. Like, we've had so many. We've had so many Batmen. It's like there's no one we can get behind anymore. Like, yeah, we got behind Michael Keaton, but then he dropped off after 2 movies. We had George Clooney and Val Kilmer. We don't really talk about those. And then we had Christian Bale, who I feel could play one but not the other. Like, he could play either Batman or Batman by itself really well, or Bruce Wayne, but he didn't really seem to fit the Bruce Wayne part. Like, he fit Batman because, Christian Bale's kind of a menacing dude. He can kick the shit out of you.
It's funny you say that, because I heard a lot of people say that they feel like he played a good Bruce Wayne, but not a good Batman, or a decent Batman.
Okay.
Like, he wasn't standout. I think he was very good, especially because we were so desperate for another Batman movie.
I think we were.
And we were, like, so hungry to see who the next actor was going to be. And, I mean, I can't say anything bad about him, really, for the part. I mean, other than he was very good, but I don't think he was as good as Michael Keaton.
No.
But there's also this funny dynamic, because remember I pitched to you guys over, the production text that we have, like we mentioned, was maybe we could talk about, like our favorite Batman like episode or something. It wouldn't be anything really long, really, but
no.
I was even thinking about it because, like you said, you're really behind Ben Affleck as Batman, and I find it interesting because I'm going to be a little biased, and I think people will notice it as well because I'm a Michael Keaton fan, but I'm also a Michael Keaton fan because of Batman. I became a Jack Nicholson fan because of Batman, and I think in that first movie that they did, I was so impressed because that was one of those movies where the acting just grabbed you. Like the acting was just so good that, I watched guys like Stallone and Arnold, And to me, I just felt like Keaton and Nicholson stuck out as far as like talent-wise, sore thumbs, like head and shoulders above those guys. Not that they're bad, but it was just like real acting. You know, like Michael Keaton you didn't have to see him with his shirt off to go, okay, he's gonna kick your ass. But as soon as he got in that bat suit, the eyes, his face, his movements, and then the ass kicking that he did, you fell for it. I mean, it was really believable. And I felt like the suit was perfect for that environment. It was scary. It was still comic book to an extent. I thought Jack Nicholson was also scary with a comic book look. And yet it was still a movie. It wasn't like we're going to take lore from the comic books like 100% and put it in. Where I felt like Ben Affleck is nothing but a pure, straight out of the comic book with the lore. Like it was damn near 100% to a comic book come to life than what the 89 was, where they took about, let's just say, 60 to 80% comic book stuff, but kept it more of a movie. So I would say, as far as a movie Batman goes, Michael Keaton is the best at it.
I understand. I can give you that one because, like you said, Michael Keaton's always gonna be our childhood Batman, and like you said, it's like 100% lore for Ben Affleck. Like, I think it's like ever since we got after Michael Keaton, I admit that Ben Affleck is the next, because like I said, we got 3 different ones, and then whatever cartoon incarnations, but he just seems to fit the bill right now. Like, because everything, even if you look at the Marvel movies, everyone has a giant build. And even in the comics, Batman was really well built. I'm going off a straight physique right now. And that was the thing that pulled off. Like, he put in the time to get that big. Like, everyone in those movies, like, so Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, even Zack Snyder worked out with those people.
Oh, wow.
I saw pictures of this. I'm like, yo, this man wants to be, like, lead by example. Like, I want you guys to work out, so I'm going to work out with you. So it was, like, one of those things.
That's really cool.
So I was like, looking at all that, I'm like, damn, dude, but I feel like Ben Affleck might kick the shit out of anybody. Like, while rewatching Batman vs. Superman, I backed that movie up so many times. I've almost gotten into fights because of this movie because it isn't as bad as everyone seems. Like, yes,
I agree with you.
Warner Brothers put their dick in it too much because they wanted to be Marvel. DC's never going to be Marvel, and that's their biggest problem. Marvel doesn't deal with realism. Marvel deals with fantasy. And even when they start dealing with the real world, they take it out. So like when Tony Stark was an alcoholic, it became a focal point for a little bit and then changed. When Doc Ock had cancer, it became a focal point and then changed. Like, they got rid of it. Like, it wasn't going to be.
Wait. Do you mean Deadpool?
No, Doc Ock had... So...
Oh, you're not talking about the movies now.
No, I'm talking about the comics. So
yeah, okay.
Even with that, like, so like, I think it was the last issue of Spider-Man where Spider-Man dies. Doc Ock gets cancer and he's dying, and he uses a machine to transfer his mind into Peter's body.
Oh wow.
That was the end of Spider-Man because now he's Doc Ock.
Oh.
But later it became, obviously he came back. You can't kill off Spider-Man.
Yeah,
It's like their moneymaker. And I was like, I feel like their biggest issue. They make a joke of their own stuff now. Now that Disney owns it, it's a joke. And if you look at, that's why, I've bitched about this because, like, everything that Marvel has done has been cookie cutter. So, like, it is, all right, we're going to have a serious moment. We're going to throw some jokes in there to kind of lighten the mood. That's why I think Age of Ultron is probably one of their better movies because they're like, all right, so this is the one time we're not going to go with the let's use the mold. So, like, they do story, joke, action, some more heavy moments, some jokes to lighten the mood. I'm like, this is like, fuck you, we're going right through here. Murder, murder, murder. Maybe a joke. They're not lifting that hammer. Back to murder. And then, like, oh, everyone hates the movie. Well, I can see why. I enjoyed it.
It's like, it kind of goes back to that, like, that Batman Returns thing where it's so different. And yet, you also have to remember that the Burton movies, they didn't follow the Batman rules where he doesn't kill anybody.
No.
Like, there's that scene in Batman Returns where the dude's breathing fire, and he just, like, he's in the Batmobile, and he just like does a reverse, and the dude's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get you," and he just like ignites the fucking Batmobile fire flame and just burns the dude. I'm like, holy shit!
No, the scene where he takes the bomb, straps to the big dude's chest, and throws him in the subway. Come on. Actually, that reminds me. So you're talking about like the rules of Batman doesn't kill anybody. You're telling me that whole warehouse scene in Batman vs Superman, he didn't kill one fucking person. He bashed that dude's skull in with a box. Okay. He killed multiple fucking people.
For anybody who hates Batman versus Superman, I like you said, I think it's very underrated. I think people just don't get it. They just saw it on the surface and were like, "Oh man, it's not what I expected." It's actually a lot deeper. I mean, I think it does have some pacing issues, and
it's a little slow.
Yeah, it does get a little slow at parts. But that warehouse scene alone, I mean, if that didn't get you hyped up for a Ben Affleck solo Batman movie, dude, I don't know what the hell would.
Like, I'm on day 4 of trying to watch this movie. Like, I got the Ultimate Edition, so it's like 3.5 hours long. I stayed up just to finish watching that scene last night, because I'm like, they're like, all right, so they're doing the fight between Batman and Superman. I'm like, oh, fuck, I got like 5 minutes. All right, I got to finish this scene, and then I'm going to go back. It's almost midnight happens, and I'm like, all right.
I remember that came out in 2016. That movie actually came out around my birthday, too. Because I remember I went and saw it on my birthday, as a matter of fact. And I just remember falling in love with that warehouse scene so much. I would boot that movie just to watch the warehouse scene, because I was like, this scene just kicks so much ass.
I would say the 3 main things that stick out of that movie are the intro to the entire movie, watching Wayne's family get killed, the introduction of Batman, where he brains the shit out of it. Like, that was a straight up horror movie.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Then the warehouse scene, I feel like are the 3 main things that stick out. I think the honorable mentions are how much they interject Gal Gadot into the movie, but not let everybody know she's Wonder Woman until close to the end. So she's showing up, kind of rivaling Wayne for certain items. And I thought that was actually really well done. And I'm like, and the way that Lex Luthor was manipulating both Batman and Superman so they would face each other, it was perfect. And it's like, what else do you want from me? I'm like, fuck, man, like, look at this movie.
I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than what they had idea of. Geez, what was that, 2000? It might have even been before they were going to do Batman Begins. They were going to do like a Batman versus Superman movie, and it was such a bad idea that they were going to fight over a girl. And I was just like, no. This one was better.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a lot better.
But this is the one time in, the 80 years of both franchises that everyone realized that both their moms, her name is Martha?
I'll be honest, I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
I'm like, the fact
but I also didn't care, to be to be completely fair.
It was one of those moments, like, I remember watching in the theater, and everyone's like, oh! Yeah. Like, it was an audible, like, oh, like, fuck, I've read both comics. I didn't even put that they let, I'm like, oh, fuck me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because, like, laugh about that now, because like that's watching that part last night, and then that's what like really was like, fuck, man.
And some people made fun of that as like, it only took the name, and I'm like, well, wouldn't it impact you like that too?
Yeah, because like if you look at, I almost call him Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne, like his mom's dead, and then when Clark is like, I call him Clark because at that moment he is Clark, he's not Superman. Mm-hmm. He's like, you're gonna let her die or she's gonna get killed, and he's like, you're who? And he's like, Martha, and then it's like you can see the amount of anger and pain in Batman's face, and it's like you realize like, yo, this is a game changer right now. He goes, my mom's dead. I don't want yours to die either.
And he's almost like he's kind of like, are you brain fucking me right here? I think because he's screaming, why'd you say that name? Because he doesn't fucking know.
Yeah. He only sees him as an alien, like, which is what we're led to believe. That's what the world looks at him as this menacing alien. And it isn't until we find out that he isn't that monster. Like, the way that Lex made him out to be. That's why I feel, if you don't watch the Ultimate Cut, or whatever the fuck it's called now, they cut out a half hour of the movie, which is so crucial to the movie that it wrecks the movie. Because they keep referencing a half hour of that movie in the theatrical edition that you don't even know what the fuck happened. And I'm like, because I even said, like, first watched through after theater, I'm like, I feel like there was a piece missing. Like, they keep referencing this desert scene, and I'm like, yeah, he kicks the shit out of people, that was it. I'm like, they don't show anybody dying. And they come back and they show some burnt bodies. I'm like, did he do it then? What the fuck? It wasn't until I watched the extended cut where it's like, oh, they set him up. And it's like they burn the bodies to make it seem, to hide the bullet wounds and everything, to make it seem like he killed them with fucking his laser eyes. Like, well, that makes sense now.
Ta-da!
I was like, I get it. Like, it goes back to the whole thing. Like, they wanted Marvel movies, so, but they're taking the source material, which deals with reality and dark source material. I was like, fuck, man. Most of Batman's villains kill people for fun of it. Not even like, haha. I mean, like, because they enjoy it. And what do you expect? Like, oh yeah, how we're gonna make the Joker a happy dude now?
Yeah, you gonna lightheart it? I don't know if that works.
I was like, hell, even Scarecrow with the fear toxin. Fuck, man, dude, that'll fuck anybody's day up.
That's a great character. I mean, I'd like to see more of that character expanded.
Especially in, I don't know, the new DC universe. I'd love to see how some of these villains are portrayed now. I feel like one that needs to be redone is Mr. Freeze, because he is always going to be a villain of circumstance. He's not there to just hurt people. He's there to almost fix his life.
Well, especially ever since, with us being big fans of the animated series, they did such a great job at giving that character a story arc, because he didn't have any before. He wasn't actually called Victor Freeze before. He wasn't married. Yeah, looks like fries. He was actually like a different character named Mr. Zero or something, I think, originally. And then the show, I believe, is what called him Mr. Freeze.
Okay.
And even they gave him an origin where he was in a lab, and I guess Batman accidentally lit like a beaker of some frozen chemical on him, and that's what mutated him. And then the animated series picked it up, and they just gave him their own thing, and then that carried over. And unfortunately, they used that in Batman and Robin. And yeah, I know. It was, oh god, man. What a fucking train wreck that movie is.
Yeah, dude. That is so punny.
That's an embarrassment.
I think probably like the closest thing we got out of that movie was maybe Uma Thurman as Pamela Isley. So.
Yeah, I mean, her Poison Ivy actually became like a bit iconic, especially during the Halloween season. Oh, yeah. I mean, women love dressing up as that version of her. Her performance in that movie fit very well. I know John kind of criticizes her for it, but it was like, yo, for what that movie was, she was very good, and she stood out and did a really impressive job with it.
Oh yeah, like that's what I said, like very honorable mention, because that is the one standout performance. Like I thought the introduction of Batgirl would have been better, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I was disappointed with that.
I also feel like the movies was too 90s.
Yeah.
So like as kids we enjoyed it, but like as a rewatchability as an adult, no.
Oh no.
Now it's like one of those things like when I said about Power Rangers, where now I understand why my father hated the movie. Now I understand why my parents hated this movie.
That's the same thing with Batman Forever. Like at first I kind of liked that too, but now I watch it again and I'm just like, whoa.
Like Jim Carrey played an amazing Enigma, and I think he went a little over the top for Riddler, but at the time that was what he was.
Even Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. And seeing how that movie became, I'm so glad Michael Keaton was not involved with it. Because I just feel like he wouldn't have fit, for one.
No, all the colors.
Yeah. That's just not... Him and Tim Burton just, like, worked so well together. That in that environment. Like, even though, like, there was a different environment in Batman and Batman Returns, it was still Batman. I mean, like, it does feel like there is some continuity that, isn't there, but I still felt like that was the environment that they could have been in, and they still could have expanded more. If there was ever a chance, I'm glad that they are doing that Batman 89 comic book and a Superman 78 comic book.
Yeah, I'm excited for those.
To continue those storylines. Because I feel like there's something that, like, a really big missed opportunity is missing from Batman Returns with how that movie ended. And, I mean, I welcome the idea of kind of like what they did with the 60s Batman, do an animated movie where it would be a third, like, Batman 89 type of film or something.
Honestly, I love those movies. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude, I was just watching it this morning, as a matter of fact.
I would love for them to do that. Just like get Michael Keaton back and like just do a couple animated movies, call it a day. Like, because everyone wants to see him as Batman. I do. It's like even if they do this Batman Beyond movie series, whatever, and he plays old Bruce Wayne, I'd be ecstatic.
Oh my god, he'd make so much money, and he would just doing his voice for an animated movie again would make so much more money for that franchise. I mean, people they absolutely love Michael Keaton. How fuck, dude, I'd still watch him in the suit. I don't care.
I don't care how old he is. He's lazy put the suit on.
Just put the fucking suit back on.
That was the main reason I saw Spider-Man. Was it Homecoming? And because I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching another fucking Spider-Man movie. Everyone's like, yo, it's an amazing movie, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. And then someone's like, well, Michael Keaton's in it. I'm like, Michael Keaton's in it? Yeah. They're like, yo, he plays an amazing Vulture. I'm like, I don't know, but it's a Spider-Man movie. Yeah, I watched it. I was blown away. I was like, holy fuck. They made that character. I was like, fuck. I don't even know how to explain like how I felt.
And of course, Michael Keaton was very good in that movie too. I mean, he's just. I don't know how to describe the way how people view him. Like they recognize his talent and that he is very good, but they still don't like put him up as like on a high pedestal as they should. Because I mean, Michael Keaton's incredibly talented.
I was like, shit, going from Multiplicity, Mr. Mom, even doing Beetlejuice, and then Batman. It's like, dude, he was the '80s dad. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, now I'm Beetlejuice. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Mom's a fun movie.
Mr. Mom's a fucking awesome movie.
I remember one night, I was having a rough day, and I had to actually get up for 4 a.m. to go and work. Yeah, go on second shift to work day shift the next day. I popped it on just to feel good movie. Yeah. It's like, don't you think go to bed? I'm like, I will.
Johnny Dangerously, that was another fun one. I mean, I gotta admit, like some of the ones that he did, they weren't A-list classics, but they were still fun to watch.
Yeah. Like, he was the essential comedy dad. Mm-hmm. And it was surprising, like you said, doing Beetlejuice and Batman almost within, 5 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Because wasn't it 86 or was it 84? Anyway.
I like Night Shift, where he was working with Henry Winkler at the morgue, and they're getting the hookers to make side money or something. Oh. He gets a new car, and he's showing Henry Winkler like all the cool shit with it, and he's like, yo, tinted windows, speakers, sound systems, all brand new. Can you turn it down? Yeah, I can turn it down. I can turn it up too. Rolls up the window and because it's all tinted, and he sees a cop. He goes, yo, we got underage girls in the back.
Oh my god.
That was a funny movie too. And then he did that movie Clean and Sober.
No.
You never saw that?
No, now I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, he was a real estate agent, and I guess the girl he slept with was dead. Yeah, and like part of the thing he had to do was get sober because they were partying and fucking, and
yeah, she died.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's kind of a dark.
Yeah, but it was good. I think Morgan Freeman was even in it.
Really?
I think he was the counselor or something at the hospital. But it was that they said it was also that movie where they kind of used for Warner Brothers to say, just look at his eyes in this movie, and that'll help you believe he can be Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, and Pacific Heights. Remember that movie?
No.
Where he's like this psychotic tenant. Oh my god, you don't know anything about
this. Dude, I might have this movie.
Dude, you gotta watch Pacific Heights. I think Matthew Modine's in it, and Melanie Griffith. And they own this like loft or something in their house in San Francisco or whatever. And Michael Keaton's a fucking nut job. I mean, he knows legal ways that they can't kick him out, and he doesn't pay his rent. He's like devising all these evil schemes and shit because he's just fucking psychotic. And he's always like a step ahead of them or multiple steps ahead of them so that they can't do anything about it. And if anything, I think he can like get them off their property and keep.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And he's a seditious bastard in it. I was like, holy shit, man.
Dude, I'm definitely have to check that out.
Pacific Heights, dude. It was good. I liked it.
You know what? I'm thinking about it. I would love to see, because what is it? They're talking about that Flashpoint movie.
Yeah.
I would love to see Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton interact. Just for the fuck of it. I don't even care if it's just like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I know, right? Just get the two current ones in.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any talk about Robert Pattinson being in it or not, but
I would rather see him play Terry McGinnis.
Me too.
But it is what it is. Like, Warner Brothers is doing their thing. It seems like HBO Max is actually taking control of the Snyderverse at this point. So maybe we'll get more out of it.
It's COVID's kind of put a really funny damper in a lot of things. I mean, and that HBO Max stuff is, I think it's just supposed to be like a time lot filler for a lot of the interest that they owe back in the banks and whatever they owe for the funding and all that other stuff. Also on top of it, the Snyder Cut that, is a big deal right now, I don't think was ever intended to be for a theatrical release, especially because, I believe they raised the money themselves to complete it, which is really impressive, because from what I heard, it's a 4-hour movie and we only got an hour of Snyder stuff in the theatrical cut.
Yeah. I love how it's just a theatrical cut now.
Yeah. Well, it was theatrical cut or the Justice League.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But
the
weird thing
stupid
is,
name.
I just found out recently, because the whole Snyder Cut getting leaked, AT&T owns HBO. And they got pissed when that got leaked out. So they had to do an investigation to come to find out it was somebody from Warner Brothers.
Ooh.
So it's like, yo, come on, let it go. Quit being petty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you guys already you're getting paid. Obviously, you have a contract. You're selling the movies either way. Just let it go.
Yeah. Why make it? I don't know.
But, and like I said, we got that upcoming, we just got Wonder Woman from them not too long ago, which was kind of cool. Like you said, got to watch it at home. It was cool, but still missing that experience a little bit.
The theater experience is definitely something, that I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, I could tell a difference between certain movies that you watch at home and then that you actually see in the theater, and it's just totally different. Psycho was a big one. I could not believe the difference that it is to watch at home versus in the theater. I mean, the theater really makes that movie a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. I think you'd have to have an amazing sound system to kind of at least get the same effect.
Mm-hmm. Especially because the music plays such a key part in that movie.
Yeah.
And it's almost like two movies in one, where you got the Norma, no, not Norma, the Janet Leigh story, whatever her name is, I don't remember right now. And then you get the Norman Bates story.
Oh, yeah, dude, when she dies in the movie.
Yeah.
Kind of changes it.
Yeah. And that barely ever happened. That's why it was such a big oh my gosh, really? They killed the main character?
Yeah.
And then Norman Bates pretty much picks up the torch after that, and it's whoa, wait, what's going on here?
It was a really long introduction. I'm surprised they didn't after the kill just go psycho.
It's longer than the Friday the 13th title in the 2009 movie. Was it 10, 20 minutes or something?
I think it was 13 minutes. Dude, that was the best intro too, because they go straight into it, not even hesitating, and then all of a sudden after he murders all those people and light that woman on fire, it's oh yeah, by the way, this is Friday the 13th. Yeah. Good luck.
And it basically had two intros: the mother getting the head cut off, and then the intro of the current time. I was like, oh, two intros and then the title. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that takes it right there.
And going back to the Snyder's DC universe type stuff, I think all that Warner Brothers shit between them messing with I think even Zack Snyder was they wanted him to change some things that he didn't want to do, and that's why this is 4 hours long, because it was really just him doing his own thing. They didn't have a say in it.
Yeah.
And I think that was another reason why there was so much Ben Affleck drama with his Batman movie. Like he said, he would just wanted to focus on the acting when he was writing and he was going to direct. And that's already hard enough to be a director and be a main star.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was just a little side character here and there, it wouldn't be as bad. But to be the main actor and a director, you're kind of putting your faith in your cinematographer, which usually, if you get a good one, you can put your faith in it without watching the view monitor and just be like, okay, yeah, that was good.
But it's like, hey, I need you to like step to the left, run for the camera. Like,
yeah,
all right.
exactly. It's like, being the director, you gotta like, know. But I think that probably played a lot in stuff because Warner Brothers. I mean, it seems like once they get something that they kind of have their hands out of, and then they go, okay, this is great, this is cool. Now we want to put stuff in for the sequel, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute here.
No. I'm just hold the brakes there.
Yeah, the dynamic all of a sudden changes, and they have their own little stupid shit. Like I heard Joel Schumacher say that when they did Batman and Robin, they used a word that he said he never heard before, which was toyetic.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris O'Donnell said that he felt like when they did Batman and Robin, they were filming a toy commercial.
Hell, like, how many toys came out of that movie? There's a lot. I mean, there's like, 4 or 5 Mr. Freezes alone?
I remember the escalation in the variety of toys with that movie series. I mean, from the original Batman, like, those toys still lingered, until the third movie was out, and you had, like, Batman Returns figures, and then Batman Forever figures, and you had all those varieties yet. And then Batman and Robin was just like, you could fill a whole like section in a mall of just Batman and Robin toys, and I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a crazy amount if you think about it.
Very. I even had a fair amount just because it was like, okay, here they are. None of, like, dude, there's like 2 different Batman outfits in the movie, and it was totally unnecessary.
Oh yeah,
it made absolutely no fucking sense when him and like they save Robin and they're with Batgirl, and then they're like, okay, now we got to go stop Mr. Freeze, and they change outfits. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
The camp level was so high. Dude, come on, was it the American Express card, the ice skates, everything? I'm like,
I can't. Like, I know everybody says, oh, it's so bad, it's funny. I'm like, no, it's just straight up bad. Like, I don't find any... I mean, fuck, dude, Samurai Cop is so bad, it's funny. This movie's... Batman and Robin's just shit.
Dude, it's straight shit.
And I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm
surprised you're saying it. I'm like, yeah, you're a huge Batman fan, but...
Yeah, dude, no, I'll say to the day as long as, like, yeah, I can't defend that. I don't blame George Clooney, though. I know he puts a lot of blame on himself, but he was just doing his job.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you act, we direct.
Yeah. And I think he actually had potential to be a decent Batman, because I've seen him in dark roles. It was just a bad
movie.
Yeah, he didn't stand a chance, the poor guy. And I think he really shouldn't take the heat on himself a whole lot for it, because that movie was a whole lot of wrong, and believe me, he was not a big factor in it at all. I actually, like, when they talk about the problems with that movie, I don't even think he comes to mind, really.
I'm like even trying to think, like, he doesn't even do a bad job. It's just everything else around him. It's like even Chris O'Donnell doesn't even do, like, a horrible job. Poor choice in costume, but...
Yeah.
Like you said, toyetic.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand why they had to change him from a Robin costume to Nightwing when he wasn't even in the Robin costume long in Batman Forever.
Yeah.
So that made no fucking sense to me.
Grown ass man, fucking tights.
And then the ass shots, I didn't get those. Like what was the purpose of those at all? I mean, if you say eye candy, I'll be like, was it really?
That molded rubber ass. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Give that male. Something for the ladies. Oh my gosh.
Ugh.
But honestly, like, it's kind of crazy. So we've gotten multiple Batman and 3 Supermen, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Christopher Reeve, Brandon Routh, and then Henry Cavill. I was like, dude, we don't even think about Brandon Routh as Superman. Like, decent movie, but
yeah.
So like, you could just compare Christopher Reeve and Henry
Cavill,
which both of them amazing actors, and it's like that would have been one thing. Like, I feel like passing the torch on him is a better choice because he fits the role better. He looks the part better.
He's definitely a more modern Superman, and for the DCEU comic book era. of movies. I thought Henry Cavill, he has a good look. He definitely fills out the suit. I think he has the right personality in the movies. And another thing that I do got to say that I really enjoy is Lois didn't feel like a complete idiot.
No.
Like she discovered who he was, and he didn't even hide that he was going to become Superman or his powers or whatever in front of her right away.
Yeah, because Lois Lane's a very smart woman.
Yeah.
There's no way to dumb that woman down, because no matter what you do, she's going to figure it out. Because, I think even Lawrence Fishburne, Perry White, even knew what he could tell her not to do something, she's gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it was in Man of Steel where she's like, "Well, I'm gonna go do this." He goes, "No." She goes, "I'm taking vacation." I'm like, "Yeah, that's smart right there." I did love that dynamic too between Lawrence Fishburne and Amy Adams, because the boss employee relationship, but he cared for her.
Mm-hmm.
And he should, because he is letting her go into these dangerous situations. So trying to figure out who this alien is, going into the desert to do an interview. There's a lot of stuff that he let her do, but you could tell he was worried.
And that's another movie where I feel like it was wrongfully criticized, was Man of Steel. I think the biggest issue with that was the editing, and especially when there was that spaceship, when they were when Superman and Lois were all up in Zod's spaceship, and there was all that bullshit of the blowing up the Earth, and then what Superman was being wrapped around in these robotic tentacles or something. I was like, what the fuck's actually going on here?
I think it was the moment where they had the opportunity to hint at Brainiac. They also did it in Batman vs Superman. They should have kind of made a little more of a nod towards it. It might have made more sense, but the tentacles were pretty much just trying to extract the DNA from him. Because they figured out that his DNA is, the Codex?
Yeah, oh yeah, the Codex.
And I'm like, I didn't take notice of it until I watched Batman vs Superman again, that's what the hint is. Because I guess that's who the villain is going to be, because now that Zod's ship is out there, it's pretty much becoming sentient. And it's a program that keeps thinking. So it makes sense. I'm like, why wouldn't they do the next step? Because going from Zod to Brainiac's a better jump than going, hey, we're going to go back to Lex down here, who really is fucking useless.
Mm-hmm.
He has the money, he has the resources, but ultimately you're not a threat. There's ways around the green kryptonite.
Yeah, and Jesse Eisenberg, I like him. I think he's a very talented actor, but he did not fit that character.
I think it fit the time era, because if you think about it, we're so used to, I guess the term would be old money millionaires, where he's a new era millionaire, where he's young, hip, he's trying to be that person, where we're used to that Lex that's straight business, where now that's not really a thing anymore. And they were kind of going with the times with that. They're, like you said, they kind of did step out of the comic book realm with that, and then kind of went with a little more realism. But it works. I could see where they did it. It was just weird seeing with the long hair, and then at the end he's like, oh yeah, I'm shaving my head now.
Well, from what I had read originally, I don't know how true this is, but supposedly they were going to have the Riddler in that movie, or they were talking about it, and Jesse Eisenberg was going to be Riddler, and somehow it changed to Lex Luthor.
Okay.
That actually would have been interesting if Riddler would have been the one to
manipulate him more?
Yeah.
I could see that.
I could actually see that better.
I could also see Lex using Riddler.
Or I was just gonna say Riddler and Lex working together.
Yeah, because that'd be a nice dynamic too.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're very smart and
manipulative too.
And Riddler likes playing those games. So.
Plus, we got so much Joker stuff now, and then the Jared Leto stuff was just, oh my god, it's just so bad.
I think the thing that pissed me off, I set the bar so low for Batman vs Superman, and I was excited for Suicide Squad because now you're introducing all those new villains, and I'm like, all right, I can deal with Jared Leto's tattooed, fucked up teeth, whatever. I even said to this, I was kind of like, all right, I can get behind it. I'm like, I understand, I'm covered, I get it. It's a new time. It wasn't until I heard his fucking voice and trying to talk through those teeth, I'm like, you're not menacing at all. You're kind of annoying. I kind of want to punch you in the mouth.
Oh, yeah, he was so fucking annoying. I tell you the truth, the thing that bothered me the most about him was he just did not have the look. His facial features in general just did not have. I mean, he looked like some weird pale like vampire lesbian wannabe. Like, I don't know. He didn't look like the Joker. And then on top of it, and I know this because my aunt sells cosmetics. She would tell me about certain makeups and lip shades and like lipstick shades. I mean, and the red lips didn't work for his lip structure. I mean, it just looked like everything was just globbed the fuck on, and it was like, what? So
like haphazardly.
Yeah,
like
so you got that along with his stupid teeth. I didn't think the tattoos worked. The concept of him being a Scarface type character for somebody who doesn't even give a flying fuck about himself, much less anybody else, I was like, this is dumb. This whole fucking concept, like, I can't even watch that strip club scene because it is just absolutely terrible. I mean, that is horrible. That is the worst fucking scene in that whole movie.
I kid you not. I own the whole DCEU right now, except for that movie. Like, I've seen the extended cut, thinking like maybe it'll fix it.
No, nothing.
It made me hate it more because like it added more Joker and less story structure.
Ugh.
I'm like, I'm good, man. I'm like, I think the standout performance is obviously Margot Robbie, and I was actually impressed with Will Smith.
Me too.
Like, I'm not a big Will Smith fan because he always plays the same character. That was the one time I saw him step out of character, where he always plays that overconfident guy, and it's like he's been playing the Fresh Prince since the fucking 80s.
Yeah.
And I was like, if he would actually like, what is it? That one movie he did with his son, where he was selling the
Pursuit of Happiness.
Yes, that was the other time I actually enjoyed him.
Yeah,
because
that was a good movie
out
too.
Of character, and I'm like, if he would do that a little more often, I think he'd be a better actor. Like, yeah, I get it. That pays the bills. Like, you being that cocky, overconfident guy, cool. But when you actually do the roles that I feel make you a better actor, do it more often. I get it. You got to pay the bills, but still.
And he's a high-paid, high-profile actor. And I do respect Will Smith because he doesn't like get into trouble and get in a whole bunch of dumb bullshit.
No.
He seems like a pretty cool, positive, fun vibe type of guy. So I really respect him for that.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's not a bad actor. I think his movies, like you talking about Cookie Cutter and stuff about like Marvel, I feel like a lot of his movies are definitely Cookie Cutter too.
I mean, come on, they're on their third Bad Boys, 3 Men in Black. I'm like, all right, first Men in Black really good, but he didn't need to keep going.
I hear the stories about like, does Will Smith even have an actual good movie? And I'm like, yeah, Men in Black's probably it. That'll be the only one that will really like live, you know, in like cinema history, really. I mean, Independence Day. I mean, I guess that's a guilty pleasure for a lot of people, but man, Independence Day that is a bad film. I'm sorry, everybody. You can hate me all you want, but that is a bad movie.
Talking about Toy Addict.
Yeah, very.
But that brings together Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith. So that was always a fun dynamic. But yeah, like I said, but you're saying like Men in Black will stick out. Probably. I think like there's really nothing like sticking out right now. That and obviously Fresh Prince are always going to stick around.
Bad Boys probably, because that's just.
But I think it more the sequel. The second one kind of seemed to like push it forward. The first one was like more of on the darker tone, so it was like setting the stones. But all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, we have Will Smith. We can actually do funny. And Martin Lawrence?
Yep.
Yeah. So they had the opportunity to go 2 directions. And they went the other.
I mean, at least they're not like raping everybody with like the Fast and the Furious franchise, just, you know, one after another. And I honestly never saw the big deal with those movies. I don't even know how many or what all I watched.
I watched them. That was my first introduction to Gal Gadot.
Oh really? Oh yeah, that's right. She was in those movies.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, cool. And I'm like, I preferred it when they were action movies because, you know, they're action movies. They're fun to watch. Like bringing The Rock in, just shooting everybody up. I'm like, I was never a car guy. When they started doing the dynamic from it's a car movie and racing and stuff like that to let's turn into a shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
I mean, I did enjoy the first movie. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh man, they all suck. No, the first one was pretty solid.
Yeah. I think it was when 2 and 3 happened, it's kind of like where it changed a little bit more.
Yeah, because Vin Diesel wasn't in the second one, and then the third one was that Tokyo Drift or something. It's like, oh, okay. Now there's so many of them, we lost count, and I go, man, is this like franchise really worth continuing? Again, it's making money, and I'm just like, wow, I cannot believe the amount of money it makes.
I was like, what? I think they're at 8, technically 9 if they include that Hobbs and Shaw movie. But the one franchise that Vin Diesel's in, he actually fits the role perfectly for is Riddick, and fucking they did 4. I'm like, dude, come on, man! At least finish your story.
Well, I mean, hey, Alien versus Predator left us hanging, and
I don't see the pull for that.
Exactly. It's what I'm getting at.
Well, technically, we got a follow up. The Predator.
Yeah. I never watched it, but according to you and John, I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't even know, man.
That's another sad waste of opportunity right there.
Between that and the Aliens movies right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I was so disappointed that was it Neil Blomkamp was going to do a real Alien 3, but then Ridley Scott kind of put a kink in that because he wanted to do like Alien Covenant and some other stuff, and there's still more questions than there are answers now with the franchise, and it's like, okay, like, are you even going to tell a story?
Yeah, he's just like pretty much giving to Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
Fucking whatever, dude. Go finger the hole and blow into it. I don't even know anymore.
And then on top of it, Ridley Scott, I think, wanted like 4 other movies to go with it. It's like, dude, you're 80 years old.
Pump them all out right now.
Yeah.
Put them out every year from here on out.
And Covenant, I mean, there were things I liked about Covenant, but overall, I was just not impressed with that movie.
I had some like cool moments. Like I made the joke about the whole was it David? I can't remember what his counterpart was, but like the fact that them interacting I thought was funny. Finding out what happened to what's her name? The girl from Prometheus was kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even like fully explained. It was like, oh, he loved her. Like they said, like an android could love a human being, but then he killed her.
Yeah, dissected her.
Yeah,
she essentially, like, the way it made it seem like she was the original queen.
That's what I was thinking. Like, so is this what it is? I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, then we got the white aliens? That was like kind of a take back.
Oh man, I don't even know.
Coolest part about that movie was the end when they actually had an alien in a ship.
Yeah,
Part of back to the original idea.
And then we don't even know what the hell happened to that other alien at the end of Prometheus. It's like, oh. They even made a toy out of it.
Yeah, they did.
I was like, oh, whatever.
Dude, there's so many like franchises out there that I feel like are dead in the water. I'm surprised they didn't try to remake Jaws yet.
What, with Ben Affleck as the shark?
I fucking still would watch it. I'm not gonna lie.
That's what Kevin Smith used to say. They fucking remade Jaws. They had Ben Affleck as the shark.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm waiting for it though. I really am.
Honestly, I thought that's what Meg was gonna be. That's just a crazy movie altogether. So.
At the end of the day, Jaws is really more about the 3 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, the shark's just kind of there because that's what's bringing them together. And of course, they'd CGI the shit out of that shark now.
Well, yeah, dude, it's probably more practical. No one's gonna see an 80-foot shark. Fucking.
I think with the right technology and knowing the pros and cons of how to do like water animatronics and stuff, they can make it work and make it look better. But just like how I was telling John that with this King Kong versus Godzilla movie, I feel like we actually do have the knowledge and the talented people to construct costumes and use a green screen or some kind of effect where they can look real, or we can do something where they look real and it's not so obviously CGI, and you can input them in with live action and it will still look real. It will be very time consuming. It won't be the easiest shots to make, But I mean, like, I'm watching things online that guys are doing in YouTube alone in their backyard or something.
Oh yeah.
And they're better than this, also the CGI stuff. So I'm like, the knowledge is there. I mean, like I said, it'll probably be hell to make, but it's kind of like what I said about the Ninja Turtles earlier, is that, you know, it could be hours and hours of grueling filming, but you're going to have that thing live on forever.
Well, if you think about it, look at the originals, like from the 50s and 60s. That was a dude in a suit. Like, yeah, it looked cheesy as fuck because that was the time, but we have evolved over time to make better prosthetics, better everything. So, like, yeah, they can make them look more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like, doing the whole concept of green screen, two guys fighting in suits, I would die forever just literally watching just the behind the scenes on that. But it would probably look a lot better. I mean, like, you said earlier about us growing up on the practical effects. Like, so we still get the artists, the prosthetics, well, pretty much the makeup artists out there, but we're always going to turn back to, like, Tom Savini, Greg Nicotero. So that's where our love for movies came from, was during that time.
Absolutely.
And I feel, in a way, that's what kind of makes us essentially jaded to that whole concept. Because, like, yes, we grew up on realism, where now, like, with it being all computers, like, you could do a little better.
And it's not that computer work is bad. I mean, it's beautiful in its own right, but the practical effects just stick out, and that's, to me, that's the movie magic, is that, you know, creating, like, it's real, it's authentic, it's practical, it's in your face. It's something that you can literally feel and touch at the end of the day. And that's what's more impressive. You know, like when you just say, oh, let's just, you know, put a computer in there. And
yeah.
It's like, I mean, it has gotten a lot better. It still doesn't have the same feel. I mean, no matter how good it looks, it's just like, you know, it's a cartoon and it's not there. I mean, at least, like, if you have something that's with a green screen and you put it in, because you know that at some point you can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. It's kind of like the same effect in horror. Like when Freddy Krueger's hand comes and pops up out of the bed and grabs you, you know, that's a real arm. It's not some CGI where it's like, oh, well, you can kind of just go, well, then it's just acting. But seeing that it's authentic, it plays with your mind, and it just gives you that, like, oh my god, they're really getting this kid, you know.
I know that one scene. I'm surprised we haven't done that episode yet. But that one scene with Johnny Depp getting pulled in fucked you up. It still fucks you up.
It does. I can't sleep on my back because of it. I literally, I don't want to sleep in the middle of my bed because I just, oh man, it creeps me out.
And I was like, we've talked about that so many times where, out of all the horror franchises, like, I feel like it affect us. Nightmare on Elm Street probably affected us the most because dealing with the dream realm and then finding out that he can kill you in both the dream realm and then the real world really would fuck you up as a kid.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I mean, like, I didn't have any issues until, was it New Nightmare, where he came to the real world. And that's what fucked me up.
Dude, that was like the worst thing that could happen to me because I'm thinking, man, thank God this guy isn't real. And then they come out with New Nightmare and I'm like, come on.
Dude, I think we were 11 and 12 at the time. I remember actually sleeping in my parents' bedroom on the floor because of that. Because it fucked me up that bad.
And he was scary looking in that movie.
Yeah, Ugh. Like, his menacing look, like, and then, like, them saying, like, yeah, it's happening in the real world. I'm like, no, it's not happening in the real world.
It's like, like, who's the sick fuck who came up with this idea? Oh, Wes Craven, again. Oh, fuck this guy.
I was like, that was the one thing that franchise that stuck out to me because I'm like, out of all the movies, the last one, the newest one was the one that fucked me up completely as a kid. I'd say that and when they introduced Scream, Wes Craven again.
Yep.
That kind of messed me up because, like, now the slasher's a real person, where when I grew up it was a monster. Like, now it's a real person. That's when I started understanding that, pretty much all people are monsters. Mm-hmm. So it kind of, like, works in that effect.
Sickos, man. I remember watching some of those late night news stations and hearing about the people that were just roaming around and, oh, you gotta catch them, and it's like, it would really freak me out.
Yeah.
And then you hear that there are these documentaries, that there are guys that do like a jigsaw thing, and I'm just like, no.
I'm like, how everyone, I mean, like, a lot of, like, streaming services are doing those crime documentaries. I'm like, we just recently watched the Night Stalker one. And, like, I admit it, like, I was like, I got into it because I'm like, well, what the fuck, man? No, you didn't catch this fucker after?
Yeah, I know.
And, then, like, I started seeing the memes. It's like, they should just change the names. Instead of call him the Night Stalker, call him Small Pee Pee Man and shit like that. Like, they would stop being serial killers. So it's like, alright, like, maybe it is, like, some people do want to get caught. Some people just are monsters. And I think that's what really affected everybody. Because, yeah, we're here. I'm not saying, like, you know, I've seen so many horror movies, I'm going to go out and kill people. I'm not doing that because, you know, I'm balanced enough. But
I just remember, like, we'll talk about it more when we talk about Scream, but one of the things that affected me in that movie was that the kids were the killers.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking, so you're willing to, like, have all that, you know, like, on your conscience the rest of your life? You know, like, they had to be, what, 16 to 17?
Yeah.
You know, was that, like, age group? And I'm thinking, so you'd risk the rest of your life possibly going to jail, and then on top of that, straight up murder people. I mean, now I'm a believer in God, so, like, and at that time, that movie came out, what, 96? So we were 9? Like,
yeah,
9 and 10?
You were 9, I was 10, so yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, you would do that? You would just basically, like, throw your life away?
Yeah.
That's what actually got through my head when I watched that movie, besides the horror stuff, because it just took me back, and I was like, wow, that's...
Yeah, I admit, Jamie Kennedy is who we are.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I watched that more, like, recently, and I'm like, yo, that's who I am as a person. Like, yes, making fun of horror movies is our thing, but you can tell that he still loved them. And I like, the fuck was it, when he's watching Halloween, and he's like, right behind you! I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, that's it.
And it's funny you say that, because I kind of feel like with Scream and with a movie like Batman Begins and the Dark Knight trilogy, there was almost like especially after the Dark Knight trilogy, there was this, like, urge for people to say, yeah, make movies more real. And we hear so many times people say now, oh, this wouldn't happen, that wouldn't happen, and it's like, dude,
it's a fucking movie.
Exactly. Like, can't you just sit back and enjoy it for what it is? I mean, like, do you think Michael Keaton could really kick everybody's ass the way he did as Batman?
I don't know, but I'd watch.
I mean, I don't know if I'd have him go in the ring with Mike Tyson, because I think Tyson would fuck him up. But I just, like, just sit back and relax and just enjoy the movie for what it is. I hear everybody so often, oh, like, you know, this plane wouldn't go like that, or that car doesn't drive that fast, and it's like, do you have to be a buzzkill? I don't know, like, if you got a problem with movies so much, then just fucking leave.
Yeah.
You know, why are you here?
Yeah, dude, it's all about the enjoyment. Like, we all know it's fake. At this point, we all should know it's fake.
That's why they call it a show.
Yeah, and, like, obviously, I watch a lot of horror, and it's very few and far in between I will talk nice about movies. And it's like, when I do, I tell them, and it's like, they're in shock. It's like, oh shit, I'm talking nice about a movie. But it like I said, it's like, at that point, like, there's critical, and there's hypercritical. Hypercritical is the one going, oh, it's not gonna happen like that. No, fuck off, man. I'm bitching about something else. I don't need to hear about plane flying fucking backwards. All right.
And it's that getting lost in the suspension of disbelief is what makes it more fun and enjoyable. I mean, we already see a bunch of stupid realism stuff out here, and to be honest, realism's boring.
Yeah, because it's the real world. We deal with it every day.
I mean, you know, like how we talked about westerns earlier, it's not exactly our thing. Another thing for me is war movies. Like, I don't really get into war movies, and knowing military guys, like, what you see on screen there in those war movies is fucking nothing compared to what they actually go through.
Yeah.
And it's actually embarrassing, and I feel like it's a slap in the face to a lot of them. is it neat that they tell a story like Saving Private Ryan, which is a true story? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to deny that, but that's just something that oftentimes I find those war movies to be kind of boring, and the trauma that those guys really go through, and most of the time they get shit on afterwards for it. It's like at the end of Rambo or First Blood, I mean, when he was talking about how he comes back and everybody's protesting him and they're spitting on him, calling him baby killer, and he's like, who the hell are they to protest me? They don't know what I went through. And it's true. A lot of people don't. So that movie sent a good message that, like, you have no fucking idea what these guys actually go through.
Yeah, I think with that one, he even took it to the personal level. He brought it home. Especially during that time, that was the whole Vietnam era, and they got shit on.
Fuck yeah, they did.
And that was horrible.
And those guys didn't want to go there.
No.
Nobody fucking wants to go to war. That's why whenever anybody says, yeah, dude, war rules. No. It doesn't. I mean, if you get anybody who can bring peace, fuck, dude, yeah, bring peace. Like, I can't believe it when I hear people say, like, yo, man, fucking kill them. I mean, I understand that there's some countries that they just can't get over that hump. Like, in the Middle East, for the most part, their beliefs are just, like, crazy, like, into what they believe, and it's just hard for them to all get on board with it. I mean, I'm not going to say that nothing ever can change or, like, not to question anything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I believe in God, and I know that, like, the Bible is just filled with hypocrisy. I mean, like, I got no problem with gay people and the gay people want to get married, but I think even the Pope just said recently that, it goes against God's eye. And I'm like, so if we're all created in God's image, why would he create gay males and gay females just to sin and go to hell right away? I'm like, something doesn't seem right about that. But I think that it was a tool for control at one point, and especially within the Catholic Church, I noticed that they like having that control and they don't change. It's pretty much, I mean, even the Amish, they lightened up on, like, their beliefs and how they live their life nowadays. But
it's everyone needs to evolve.
Yeah.
Like, as much as the whole creationism versus evolution.
That's a whole nother story.
I'm not even getting into that. I'm just saying, like, everyone is evolving. And it's the best way to explain it, because no matter what, as a society is moving forward, if we want to stay back when those books were written, then you are so singularly minded that you are ignorant to what else is happening.
That's well put. You are singularly minded.
And that's the problem. Like, if we expand our minds, like, how do I say this? I probably am, like, the one person that probably wouldn't say it like this, because we are white males and we're always going to be viewed as something else. And that's might be the problem, but it's the thing, like, we have an open mind to everything, and that's the one thing we're looking forward to. It's like, I love getting new experiences so I can step forward. Like, so if I get into a situation, I try to use my words. Where before I would have fought you on it, but now it's like, I'm at that point, like, I need to learn. So I move forward, we work together, we become a community. That's where it should work. It shouldn't be like, let's stay back, way back, where we don't belong. And the only situation I still run into is I'm fully covered in tattoos. And there's still that stigma about that. And I'm like, yo, get the fuck over it. I'm like, I still do my job. I do it very well. So whatever I look like is the way I fucking want to look like. So it's like, as a person, I see little bits, but it's like, it's nothing compared to what the world is now.
Oh, yeah, hell no.
And I was like, so it's like, cool, I can deal with my stupid stuff. So it's like, I feel like as society, we should just keep opening our minds, expanding on what's going on. Like, yes, everything is changing. Are we able to change with it? And that's the way it should be. And as much as I feel like we don't talk about the very sensitive subjects, this is like the one time you are going to get it from us, because I am always open to new things.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I feel is what this group should be, is how it's always going to be, because we are open.
And that's what you just said, is that we're very open-minded, and we've said, like, the very few times, like, we briefly just say we don't do politics, And a big reason why is because we don't play Republican, Democrat. Like, the three of us don't.
No.
I mean, we listen to both sides. We talk about it amongst ourselves mostly, but I feel like it's just a broken system and it's a house divided. And I mean, clearly, just look at 2020. And I mean, I've seen so much shit that's just unreal, and it's just kind of become like a football team thing. And it's like, no. This isn't how it should be. It should be, you want people that are going to work to make everything better for us first, living in the country, and then if we can, help others. And it's just, and now we got like race division, and then there's like religion starting to step in now with certain things, and your party affiliation. It's just like, it's fucking ridiculous.
It shouldn't matter. Like, just view that person as a person. It doesn't matter what they look like, how they're dressed, what religion they are.
I grew up in the performing arts, and I've known so many people of different races and, ethnicities and beliefs. Like, one guy I remember, his name was Caesar. I think I mentioned him in Terminator. I remember when my mom would put me in like little modeling competitions, I would be so scared to walk by myself. Caesar would walk with me on the catwalk, and then we'd come back, and after a while he helped me like get the courage to go up there on my own.
Oh yeah, give you the confidence to
boost
you, man.
And I never viewed him as like a minority or nothing. I actually looked up to him as a father figure at that point. I thought that was great, and he didn't have to take his time out for a little kid to do that.
No.
And I never understood, and you might laugh at this, like, I never understood the big deal about like whiteface or blackface. And the reason is because I knew African Americans that wanted to play white people on stage. I knew Spanish people who wanted to do that. And did they care if white people wanted to play African Americans? No. Because to them, it was acting.
Yeah.
All it was just acting. It wasn't like they were doing it going out in public just to be an ass and say like, hey, look at me. No, I mean, they wanted to expand their talent and do it. And now they're kind of like, well, remember when Robert Downey Jr., pretended to be a black guy in Tropic Thunder? And it's like, it almost goes back to that South Park episode where Chef got mad because there was a stick figure on the flag that was like a black stick figure that was hanging on a noose, which was like, it's typical for South Park, but it's nothing new really. But he talked to the kids about it, and the kids didn't see a problem with it. And he was like, what? And then finally at the end of the episode, the thing was, they just thought it was a guy.
Yeah.
They didn't see it as a black person or a white person. And then Chef finally got it. He was like, oh, so like growing up, I've been conditioned to like not even really care. Like I heard about Freddie Mercury, was bisexual growing up, and I was just like, oh, okay. My parents exposed me to that as a young age, and they just said he was just somebody who liked men over women and was in a relationship with them, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
That's like, fuck. Didn't change the fact that he made amazing music.
Exactly. It was like, it wasn't gonna, here I was a single digits kid, like 4 or 5, just like, oh, okay, whatever. I was like, if that's what he likes. And at that age, I'm like, okay. I'm not in a relationship type stuff. And it was like, give me Batman Ninja Turtles,
That's all we cared about.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't care about how anybody looked. It's like, you made friends just based upon what you like.
Mm-hmm. And if you got along with them, that's what it was.
Okay.
There was never this like stupid bullshit about, what color your skin was or how you talked or whatever. It got worse the older you got, actually, because everybody was getting into those rebellious years and had to judge you if you weren't into the lifestyle of the rich and famous, or if you liked hanging with this crowd and that crowd. And it was like, oh, okay.
Honestly, I feel like sometimes we just go back to simpler times, like when we were kids. Like, hey, you like this? Cool, I like it too. Let's go do this.
Yep. That's how I feel. That's why I think it's like really cool when you go to those conventions and everybody just seems to get along, because it's just...
Dude, that is the one thing I enjoy about conventions, because it doesn't matter who you are. We all love horror, comics, whatever. I'm reaching right now. But that's the thing. It's
concerts.
Like, it's the community idea. Like, we're together. We're here for that thing, and then that's it. Like, we don't worry about anything else.
That's the same way how I felt when I went up to Wisconsin for a Packers game. Because most of the time when you go to other stadiums, it's always like, oh, you're the rival. It's like, oh, boy, get your guard up. No, man, they don't care if you're Bears fans or Vikings and Lions fans. It's like, just come party with us. We'll have a good time. Watch the game. Hey, man, the best team win.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the best mentality. But, Philly fans are totally different.
I remember you telling me about the hockey game where...
Dude, I've been to several Flyers games as a Tampa fan. Wearing Tampa gear. So, dude, it is the total different ballgame. If I was actually a Penguins fan, I think I would have been dead.
Oh, probably.
But yeah, like I still laugh about this because it's like probably the most fucked up situation I've ever been in, and I probably said it before on one of the earlier podcasts. Obviously, a huge Tampa fan. My wife's a huge Flyers fan. She was, I want to say, roughly like 7-8 months pregnant, and we went to a game. Like we're like, all right, we'll do one more game before Thea was born, and obviously it's been the last game we went to.
So 2 years.
Yeah, and
never mind COVID.
Yeah, and it was funny because like we were there, and then finally, like, dude, the people started filling in next to us, and they actually were Tampa fans with their Flyers friends. And like, cool, as the game's going on, Tampa's royally stomping Flyers. I'm like, cool, doesn't happen often, whatever. The girlfriend of the guy next to us is starting to get shit-faced. And I'm like, oh, no. So, like, she starts getting loud, and, like, as the game's going on, so I think it was, like, 7-1 at the, like, 2-minute mark. I'm like, yo, we gotta get the fuck out of here. I go, this girl's gonna get us killed. Even on the way out, like, everyone's starting. I'm like, I'm trying to, like, hustle my pregnant wife out. And I was like, dude, I was sitting there, like,
gotta go.
Yeah, like, dude, I can't protect both of us. I'm like, we gotta go. And like the whole time, this girl's like getting loud. I'm like, yo, she's gonna get beat up.
Kind of want to see that.
Dude, it was just ridiculous. It's like I just remember us like scooting out and gone.
Hey, plus you beat the traffic too.
Yeah. Usually the 2-minute mark, if you already know who's winning the game, just leave.
Mm.
Hockey is a fun thing to watch. Like, so that's and that as we were talking about, like a community. That's the thing. Like you're working together. That's what I feel we should all start doing.
We should. I really do wish more people would just break away from stereotypes and other things like that. And unfortunately, some people just don't change, and sometimes that's good. But, I mean, as long as you don't harm others, that's kind of the way how I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot more thoughts and opinions on things, and, I definitely don't agree that politics should be in the performing arts, even though they totally are. That's kind of why I like leaning more towards the independent stuff, because I mean I have to figure that there's some tie-in between especially the Democratic Party and Hollywood. I just there's just no coincidence that all those people are like affiliated with that party. I just don't see that happening. And then if anybody's Republican, they get blackballed. I'm like, that's just weird. Yeah. Come on.
They do a good job. Let them do a good job.
Yeah.
Don't make your party affiliation what it is. And the people who have the party affiliation should just keep their comments to themselves. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what's going to get everybody in trouble eventually.
Oh, absolutely. I think it was Kurt Russell who said actors in Hollywood and anybody affiliated with Hollywood should just leave politics out of things. And he's right, because it's toxic to the environment.
Yeah. And
then you already got the spoiled rich assholes saying what's best for us when there's an obviously bad situation going on. And, like if they say, like, oh, no, this is the good situation. It's like, no, it's not. Shut the fuck up. You can go over to New Zealand if you want whenever the hell you please. We're stuck here.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Yeah. We're lucky if we can have a house.
Well, on that note, do you want to talk about, like, upcoming stuff we're working on, or? Because I know we got a couple episodes we're working on.
Yeah, you actually were the one that was coming up with the pitch of ideas, which seems like a lot of fun. So yeah, go for it.
So, like, with April showing up, like, yes, obviously we were a little behind because of technical difficulties, me getting COVID. We're trying to, like, do the plan ahead. So April is halfway to Halloween. So we chose a few little episodes to do. So we were supposed to end up with Ninja Turtles, and last one was going to be Ghostbusters for the movies that made us. Was it top 5, essentially what it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
That really affected our lives. And then I figured we are going to the Mahoning Drive-In for Monster Squad and what's his name? Andre? I can't remember his last name. I think it's Bauer. Anyway, he's the guy who starred in that movie as a kid. He did a documentary about the movie, I think last year, 2019. Might have been, but it was called Wolfman's Got Nards, so I'm excited for that. So I suggested, why don't we just do Monster Squad before, and then either do an episode at Mahoning or the following week about like the follow-up, talking about the documentary and everything. And then end the month with, we were throwing on the ball of either... Yeah, that scared the fuck out of me. I totally just lost my train of thought. I'm gonna have to rethink that. Anyway, so like finish up the month with either Scream or do Scream Queens and kind of fit that whole dynamic. And I feel like that would have been 4. We just gotta actually check with Jen again to see if she wants to do.
Yeah.
Definitely would probably love to do Scream. Not gonna lie.
I'd like to have Jen Harding back on again for both, actually.
Yeah. So would I. So like if we can work with her schedule, I know she's very busy right now with doing the sweatshirts, and she just did another run with Hot Topic. I think I have like 3 shirts now from Hot Topic, which is funny.
I know I'm constantly sharing her stuff on my Facebook page because I don't post stuff about myself on there, so I'm like, I like supporting other people, really.
And honestly, that's what we like to do. We like to support each other. We like to support other people we know. Like even like I go to Young Ones Records. I was telling them like all the pictures of the records I picked up, and like eventually we're gonna start showing those too. So we like to support the community, people we know, like even people we don't know. Like if we like their stuff, we're just trying to support them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we're hoping that we can continue doing that moving forward. And honestly, like I'm excited. Like we're trying some new stuff, and I think that's what it is. Like we're evolving.
Yeah, and we're actually getting a hold of some other people who've been involved with the movies themselves, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
We also know a WWE wrestler. Which we might get on the show sometime. That'd be pretty wild.
Yeah, that actually be pretty fun. I'm still kind of curious. I'd love to hear some of his stories.
Yeah, me too. Like, can he say this on air?
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? I forget. Did we talk about the movie?
I think we did last time. Like, I think during the bullshit episode was just me and you.
That's right.
I feel like me and you just kind of just bullshitting is bullshitting because it's true, because this is what we do. But yeah, like with the idea of John doing his movie, he's trying to get everything together to do that. We were talking about maybe doing either a short film, whatever, talking about, well, pretty much dealing with the podcast, but doing it as a like Clue-esque.
Yeah, it's kind of like our version of well, it's kind of like a mix of a few different things. It's kind of like Brad and Janet go to the Frankenfurter Castle, except we're invited and there's like an Elvira character for a horror movie marathon, and we think it's just all costumes and games, but really everybody's monsters, and like it's all real. It's all real horror stuff, and we're like, what the fuck's going on? And then just madness ensues after that.
So I was actually going to surprise you when I actually recorded it. So I'm working on a separate thing because I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk about horror movies. So I figured I'm just going to do like one episode a month just of talking about horror. Send it to you guys and see what you thought. But I'm still working on it. I'm working on Manfred's Mortuary right now.
Mortuary?
Yeah. Because I like the Double M. I figured I was going to submit that, give that a shot, see how we do it there. Because, like I said, I talk about horror all the time. So I figured kind of get away from that with the main show. So give them a break, but give you guys still something to listen to.
I enjoy listening to it. I mean, like, I pretty much let you guys do the side stuff because I got so much going on. I mean, I do the editing for the most part, and the rotating shifts I work for my full-time job, that just kills me. It even sucks more because I can't get a good weightlifting workout in anymore because I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, after a while, dude, because you do, roughly 60 hours a week?
Sometimes, yeah. Ugh. I mean, like, weekend overtime's like Russian roulette.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. But I am looking forward to my birthday weekend.
I know, dude. I'm excited for that too.
We rented out a theater and we're going to watch Batman 89 there.
Hell yeah.
And possibly just for shits and giggles, because I was looking at places desperately. I actually
trying for that weekend.
Yeah, I was, and I couldn't get the day I wanted at this one specific theater. It's an old throwback, pretty wild theater. They said, oh, yeah, we can do like April 10th, I think. And so I said to the guys, I was like, yo, I still have this reserved, like, should we watch Ninja Turtles in the theater?
Honestly, like, that might become our thing eventually. Just get a group of people, watch a movie in the theater, call it a night.
Heck, I mean, let's take the show there, rent it out for 3 hours, and then 2 hours of the movie, 1 hour of a podcast.
Talk about just shit talking.
Yeah. Or record us while we're doing the movie.
Do a total Mr. Science Theater.
Exactly.
I know a lot of people were asking if we're ever going to take it, like, not really live, but start recording ourselves. Have you ever thought about doing that?
Oh, absolutely. It depends on the movie, and it depends on the footage. I actually don't know how to put the footage up on screen or how we can go about it because of copyright issues, too, exactly. I know we've done it with Ben Ruth, doing the Lord Damien McDonovan, Damien's Dreadfuls, except he had, what was it? Nosferatu, which is in public domain, so...
There's so much public domain on that.
I mean, we can probably do that as well, but... I mean, we've had a damn good time with movies like Friday the 13th Part 8, specifically. I mean, Jeff and I, oh my god. Just the boxing scene on the roof alone was memorable for the both of us.
Honestly, like, I feel like we can always do that with horror movies in sci-fi alone. Even certain action movies, you might be able to pull it off, but... Oh, yeah. It's just like the whole thing, like copyrights and trying to figure out how to do it.
I mean, I think there could be a way where if we, like, box it somehow... I'm not sure. I mean, we got fucked with our Knives Out, episode. It's so stupid. Yo, fuck Nordisk Films for that, by the way. We might do a whole episode. Yeah, everybody, look up Nordisk Films. They are a shitty production company over in Sweden. And they said, that we had copyrighted material, which I don't know if they thought we were at the actual movie or what. But they took down our Knives Out episode. So it'll be re-uploaded at some point again. But fuck Nordisk Films. Fuck you in the ear.
Wow.
We were getting a lot of views on that, too. Fuckers.
Honestly, I'm still impressed. Like, I'm glad everyone's listening.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have noticed, like, ever since we did make it our own, like, alright, I know before, like, we just talked about the movie. Now we're actually just talking. Like, yeah, like, John writes his fucking novels, and we go from there, but, that's the thing, like, I enjoy doing the art. I love actually just, like, talking to you about, like, what's going on in my brain. So it's like, it's just, if we're watching a movie, I can actually pull something out, and I'll try to figure out how to incorporate it in. Like how I just did the Jurassic Park one, and I totally went little kid with it on purpose. And they fucking loved it.
Oh,
I can't wait
it
for
was
you guys
great.
to see it.
It was symbolic. It was for your favorite movie. It was fitting. I would never have taken any of those concept ideas away from you.
I thought it was funny, because, like, it was, I think, 2 days before I finished up the art, we're trying to teach Thea how to say words. And we're in Target, I was picking up her diapers, and she just says dinosaur. I go, what? What dinosaur? She points, and there's a thing of dinosaurs. It's like 15 or 20. I'm like, really? That's what you want? She goes, dinosaur. I'm like, fuck. I was like, all right, I'll do it. Then I sent them a picture. She's like smiling ear to ear with this.
Oh, hell yeah, she was.
So I was like, all right, that was actually part of what I ended up using, because I saw it, and I'm like, yo, this is perfect.
Tis so.
Yeah. So it's like, it's fun, just like, and then working with the names is probably the funniest, because, like I said, it could be something for the movie, something we said during the podcast, and then try to incorporate that into as a title now.
And I like how we said this is kind of like our band, where we've come up with these ideas and concepts, and the names of the episodes are kind of like our album names and stuff. And we have been thinking about doing a t-shirt concept, actually.
Yeah. Where
it's promoting the show, and on the back is like a tour guide, and it says our episode names and stuff.
I can't wait till we actually get that one finished. I was like, because working on that one is fun right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then like, if you all take notice, I have been using the same size pictures too. So it's like when we made it the whole band idea, I started trying to do it like as a vinyl cover. So they're all, I think they're 10 by 10s right now. I was trying to do 12 by 12s, but it was too big to send out.
Okay.
So it was kind of weird. It was like really like 2 inches on either. All right, whatever. So it's like it's the sometimes I put too much art into it. It actually makes the program too. It makes the file too big to send out. So it's like, all right, sometimes I gotta pull stuff out or I gotta merge it like every time I work on it. But I just started Ninja Turtles, and that one I'm actually kind of excited for.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Because like I actually got the idea while watching the movie. But like I said, that's where my ideas come from. Like hell, sometimes I don't even have the art done till almost a week after. So it's like it takes sometimes to like try to think of something. Like I could start with a basic idea and then scrap the whole thing right off the bat. Because like if it comes out stupid, my brain's like out of here, fuck off.
The brain of an artist.
Yeah. I was like, hell, it took me almost a month to do Evil Dead because I kept changing it and it didn't look right. And then finally, like what we got, it's like that was actually the original centerpiece. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, that is the piece. And I just had to blow it up and then fix it.
And then Elvira, I remember that was giving you problems.
Yo, that pissed me off. I was mad. Like, you guys said it looked great. I'm like, no, it's not great. It's something wrong with her face. But finally, what you got is the actual, like, I think the third attempt.
Oh. Man.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, once I fixed her face, like, everything was perfect except for her face, and it bothered me. I'm like, they're like, oh, you know, it looks good. I'm like, no, there's something wrong with it.
Well, remember, there's never really a final draft of a script either.
Yeah. It's like, even, what is it? The Fog versus Fog. I did that one took a little bit because that one kept put on the back burner because we got pushed in the episode.
Yeah.
And when I got to the end of that one, the hardest part was trying to reload it back up to put the last piece in. So I ended up just deleting the one that I pre-made and then just went back to the original copy and then went over everything that way. So like the Ghost was the Fog and the Pirates was actually a last edition. And working with that, because the paint program I used had to do it layers, and I had to make a whole new setup for those because I wanted the effect where it actually gave the fog was over top, and then they were in it. So I had to keep changing that just a little bit. And it was kind of fun because, like I said, it challenges me to actually use what I learned in college. So it was cool. Like I said, that was probably like those. Usually the faces are my hardest because like I'm super hypercritical about the faces. If it's like something inanimate object, I'm fine. Like I can do it. It's just like doing Mel Gibson's face, Elvira's face, Adam West's face bothered the fuck out of me. But it's like it takes me a little bit longer than to do the rest.
So if you go back and do one for Showgirls.
Straight up, I don't even know what I would do for Showgirls at this point. It might be the cheeseburger, milkshake, and fries, but the fries being like thrown all over the fucking table.
Well, you said you watched the movie for inspiration to do the work.
I'm not watching that movie again, alright? It took me 4 fucking hours the first time. I'd rather do the fucking gutters in my house than watch that fucking movie. I was like, I
thought I'd throw that out there.
And it took me forever just to watch the documentary because I didn't want to watch the.
The best part about that documentary was, hey, you guys still have that on your Voodoo account? Yeah, but it went out of we have to like re-rent it or something. And you're like, oh, okay, forget it.
I wouldn't found it. Yeah, so it's like leading up to episodes is kind of fun because like that, trying to get like the art, trying to get like the almost like a structure of what we're going to talk about. So like yeah, we have a month planned out sometimes, and schedules kind of like conflict, so we got to change just enough to fit the schedule we now have.
Sometimes John just forgets.
Oh my God.
like because of my rotation, I work a 2 to 10 shift one week, and then a 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift, and then after my 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., I work a 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. shift. And during that 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. shift, we don't record because we don't have the time to get all three of us in here. And we can finish up a week where I do the 10 to 6 shift, and then we'll get a text from John saying, oh, I'm all ready to record next week. And we're like, record what?
Yeah. I feel like we should just buy him a calendar.
I
and
know,
put the
right?
days
Just
on.
say, like, John.
Yeah. This is what this is, John. But it's all in fun.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's like ever time pressured really from this, so we just go with the flow.
I think the only thing we try to do is at least one a month.
Yep.
If anything, just have one out, so that we're constantly giving you guys something new. Because
that's what the spin-off shows like Movie Morgue and Conjugal Visits are for.
I got a couple of movie morgues I'm working on right now.
Ooh.
Because like I was thinking about it, like I haven't done any since before I dropped. I'm like, there's constant build up, and then having the whole 10 days off, I watched a lot of movies. So I got some more ammo right now.
Was The Crawling Eye one of them?
No. Dude, I remember watching that for the first time, and I was horrified that this was actually scary. Like, who the fuck thought this was a horrible, like, a scary movie? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Just the title.
Dude, just that practical effect of the giant crawling eye.
Old horror. I love it. I miss it.
Yeah. Guess, anything else you wanna?
I mean, we've been talking long enough, so, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing this, even though John wasn't with us. Hey, fuck him.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Well, about the only thing I could think of is, I think at some point I wouldn't mind talking more about Batman the Animated Series as its own episode.
Oh, absolutely.
I wouldn't mind talking about Power Rangers the series as its own episode. I would say leading up to the part where Jason, Trini, and Zach part, because that's when it just goes downhill.
Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck them is right. Fuck Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, we mean.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I said even if we do the animated series for Turtles as a whole. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I
mean, we could talk about, like the 80s and the 2000 version, because I remember when you and I watched that 2003 version too, we were like, yo,
I love the
solid entry.
Yeah, I love the fact that when Nickelodeon got it, like after Fox had it, they did that movie Turtles Forever, which actually was a crossover.
Yes.
And that one blew my mind because I'm like, I never even thought about it as a multiverse. Like, it's like, yeah, I saw each incarnation as by themselves.
Yep.
And that was the first time them going, oh yeah, by the way, there are multiples. And then like they showed the clips of certain movies throughout time. Like, oh fuck me.
Yeah, I remember the timeline, and they showed the group of the Turtles from the '90 movie, and I was like, oh, that is awesome. Oh yeah.
So I think that's gonna be a fun episode. So we should probably buy a calendar at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, just map everything out. Just be like, okay, here's 2021. This is what we're doing. This is what you can expect.
Yeah. And honestly, like I'm starting to use social media a little bit more for this, so we're getting out there. So it's like,
I guess we should say again that Jeff, John, and I were all on Facebook and Instagram. I do have a Twitter account, but I don't really use it. I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, it'll probably get you in trouble.
Yeah. I get into some fights on there. And I'm very tasteful, though.
Oh my God.
And Cinema Sanitarium Productions also has its own Instagram account, which is where you can see most of Jeff's art, pictures of our adventures, like Mahoney Drive-In, and just like people we met in the past. Like we've had the first encounter with Ben as Lord Damien at Rocky Horror. We put that up on there. Just a lot of like cool stuff, fun memories, and just showing you what we do. Hopefully, maybe we'll be able to put pictures of meet and greeting fans at some point.
I think that'd be fun.
That'd be really fun. Who knows, maybe we'll go to like a booth with Jen Harding and interview her and be like, hey, how's your day at this convention?
Just make it awkward as all hell. Hello.
Hey, what'd you sell?
You can always look her at Jen M. Harding art.
Yep.
I always forget the M, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's a big supporter of us, and we're a big supporter of her.
If you can tell from all our pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. And please check out her stuff, because her art really is incredible, and I've been wearing her sweatshirts around already and getting a lot of, hey, I really like that design and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, not only is her designs really cool, but they're also very comfortable, and the prices, dude.
Go for it.
The prices are very more than reasonable So
I was like, I got 2 of her originals in the basement. I've got the one that was one of her original prints for the Hot Topic run, and the other one is her Scream one. And honestly, like, I love them both. So I was like, absolutely.
and nothing of hers is copied either. It's all done by hand. So what you get is an original piece from her.
Yeah, I remember her saying that in the Home Alone episode where she's like, whatever you see is it. That there's no copies. I don't do prints. I'm like, wow. So I feel special now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's it then.
I think because we're at the 2-hour mark now. We get a little long-winded.
But you guys hear stuff that we got coming up. It should be fun and exciting. I know I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
I think we just rattled off some shit, too, that John's going to hear and be like, really? We're going to talk about that?
Dude, I'm totally going to shit on him. I still got a PSA I got to do about him. You'll find out later.
Alrighty. So, brother, you say that wrap things up for the day?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And with that being said, we shall sign off. This is Colin Peters.
Still fuck John Rochetter and Jeff Manfred.
Thank you all again for listening. Stay safe. Stay crazy.
Please, somebody help me.
Oh, yeah.